Hi guys, this is Natu from Curse.EU CSGO team, and today I'm going through some of the basic settings in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. So first of all, we're going into the Help and Options menu, and we're going to jump straight into the game settings, which has the most basic settings here. First of all, the Crosshair settings, you can vary the color here. The basic colors are green, light blue, blue, yellow, and green again. You have the option between dynamic classic crosshair, which moves the crosshair while you are moving and jumping around. As you can see here, it makes a lot of stuff when you're jumping. It goes huge, but when you go and put it on static, none of that stuff happens. That's something I prefer instead of having a really moving crosshair. I like to keep it static instead. There's also the new default crosshair, new to Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The static one is actually pretty good as well. It's pretty standard. You probably might want to use a different color than the green one on this. Then you have the default, the dynamic default one, which is also something you're not used to from the older Counter-Strike versions. This is maybe something that would be more familiar to anyone who's used to playing Call of Duty and games like that before. But yeah, you have a lot of options with the crosshair, and also with the classic crosshair, you have a lot of commands you can use, such as a seal crosshair gap. I have it at -10 now. The standard would be 0, so it would look like this. You can have it at 10 if you like to have a big one, the big gap. But I like to keep it pretty. I like to have a weird crosshair, so to speak. You can vary the size. You can have a huge crosshair if you want to, but you probably don't want to do that. You might want to keep it pretty simple. Yeah, I like to keep this little crosshair. It works for me, but that's a matter of preference. But there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. Team tag, well, that is quite obvious. You can make groups on Steam, and you can make tags for your groups, and then you can use those group tags in the game. Switch weapon on pickup, I like to use that at no. Imagine you're on a eco round. You get a kill. Boom, I killed one, he dropped an AK, and I started shooting another one, and I run over a weapon. See, it didn't switch on to my hand when I picked it up, so my battle with the second opponent did not get disrupted by the fact that I was running and picking up a weapon. But if I had it on yes, what would happen would be, and there would be like a gap of a second that I wouldn't be able to shoot, and a gap of a second in an FPS game is a matter of life and death in game. So yeah, I would prefer I prefer having it at no. Also, close buy menu after purchase, I keep wanting to have at no. Let's get some buy time here. So yeah, every time I buy something, it does not shut down the menu, but instead if I have it on yes, then every time I would buy a single item, it would close, so I would always have to push the button that opens the buy menu. Always show inventory. Also, I like to have that at yes. As you can see on the right hand side of my screen, you can see all the stuff that I have: the AK-47, Glock, I have the Zeus, the knife, all my nades, the bomb. All the time I'll be aware of the equipment that I have. While if I have that or no, then only when I'm switching between weapons I will see it, but then it would fade away. So I prefer having that at yes. View model position, it's just another setting of preference. The couch, the classic from older versions, and the desktop one. So whatever you feel most comfortable with, just choose that one. Game instructions, I think, are pretty useless unless you're really not, if you're really new into FPS games and the Counter-Strike concept, then you would probably want to have that, yes. But if you don't, then if you're not new, then you don't have any use with those. Max acceptable matchmaking ping. If you like to play matchmaking games, then probably want to have that at max 80, so that's still pretty playable. Enable console, yes, we want to have console because we can do a lot of stuff from console. Keyboard and mouse, reverse mouse, obviously when it's on, then when I move my mouse down, crosshair will go up, and the other way around. But usually you would have that at off. Duck mode, that whole is default setting, something that we're used to in Counter-Strike world. But if you played Call of Duty, for example, then you might be used to the toggle mode, when you just push your duck button once and you'll be ducked until you push it again. Mouse sensitivity, you probably want to use something along the lines of 2 maybe. I wouldn't recommend anything silly like 10 or 20, but you probably want to use it at something average like 2-ish. Zoom sensitivity, that changes whether you'll have slower mouse movement. If you have it below 1, then it'll be a little bit slower than your actual sensitivity. But when you have it at 1, then it will be the same sensitivity when you're using a zoom weapon and when you're not using one. Raw input on means that none of the Windows mouse settings are going to be affecting your sensitivity in the game, but instead all the inputs coming from the mouse directly will be calculated by the game and not through the Windows driver system. Acceleration, when you move your mouse faster, it will make it will make longer swipes, but probably want to have that off. Pretty much no one uses that. And then you have all the keybinds here. Everything you feel necessary to have. Video settings, the brightness you want to probably have around 19. I suggest you try the television mode. On the color mode, it will make it a little bit brighter than with the computer monitor. I know you're not going to be able to see this in the video, but just go check it out from your settings and just play around with it. HUD scale, you can make it the HUD higher, bigger or smaller. Excuse me. Aspect ratio 16:9. That's what my monitor standard is, so I like to keep it at that. Also the resolution 1920 by 1080, something that my monitor is recommended to use. Full screen, yes, usually when I use full screen. Yep, that's pretty much all the necessary things from here. Advanced, I like to have my settings at low, pretty much all across the board, just for the fact that I noticed when I was playing with higher settings that I was having some kind of input lag, and that's not acceptable when you're playing a competitive FPS game. Also, this game shouldn't be a matter of nice graphics, but instead good competition, and so I like to keep this low so I keep my FPS as high as possible, even though my computer would be able to handle higher graphics, but still I like to keep this low and focus into the actual gameplay instead of nice graphics. Also, you can change the HUD size here, make it bigger horizontally or vertically, whatever you like. Audio settings doesn't pretty much matter whether you have what configuration you have on here. Headphones or 2 speakers, doesn't matter really. Master volume, you can change this in console as well. If you're playing competitively, make sure you have the right ratio between your in-game sounds and the voice comm you're using, so that you get the best of both. that's pretty much it from the menu. From the console side of things, basic things you want to have as CMD rate 128, CL update rate 128, and rate 1280000. So 128,000 on the rate department. That is assuming that you're using a broadband connection, which is pretty much everyone nowadays. Also, interrupt ratio at 1 is something you want to have. FPS max, I have it at 399, doesn't matter. As long as it's something about 100, you're pretty okay with that. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. These are the basic things you want to know when you're setting up your game, your Counter-Strike Global Offensive. This is Natu from Curse.EU CSGO team, signing off. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for your support. See you later.